Blind Poe was an old Chinese man who was known for his wisdom. It was said that although Poe was blind, he could find gold almost anywhere. The town in which Poe lived was on the fringe of the desert. There was an old prospector who for years had combed the desert in search of gold without any luck. The old prospector would on occasions seek out Poe and ask him the secret of finding gold. But for years, Poe would just ask him to solve what he thought were silly riddles of a blind fool. Poe would ask, why, when you light your lamp, do the moths gather and sacrifice themselves? Do they not perish on the glass that protects the flame? Answer this, and I shall tell you the secret of finding gold. And the second riddle, I am blind, yet I find gold everywhere. You have sight, and you can find not a speck. Answer this, and I shall give you all the gold I find at your feet. The old prospector would always leave Poe whinging and complaining that all he ever got from Poe was frustration and anger. Then Poe would give him a third riddle. Your way of search leads you to the mind, of which the prize is frustration and anger. I show you that you do not dig deep enough. Find a way to dig beyond your fool's gold, and you shall find the answer to my second riddle. Prospector,
Oh, go away, Poe.
he would shout. Poe would then say, if you find real gold, rub it against yourself. It will become as clear as a mirror. One day, the old prospector was digging in the ground after his usual talk with Poe. And as he continued to argue in his head with Poe, he realized that when he did this, he did not have the same strength that he had when he had a clear mind. Therefore, his shovel would dig not as deep. This was a part of Poe's riddle. He then sat under a shade tree and contemplated having a stiller mind. He became much calmer and, in a strange way, happier. He then went back to his digging. As he dug with greater zest and a sense of joy, he observed that the shovel moved through the earth with much greater ease. Then he hit upon something with his shovel that jarred his hand. Normally he would curse and complain, but now his mind was still, and the only thought that came was the ringing of metal striking against metal. He dug around the object and found it was a small brass chest. Breaking a small lock that held the chains around the chest, he opened it. Inside was a very old book, of which the pages, all but one, had turned to powder when he touched them. The page read, a man may have no sight, yet if he is blessed with wisdom, he shall see the truth in all things. The alchemist does not find gold, his wisdom creates it. The old prospector, for the second time in the same day, had unraveled Poe's riddles. With his newfound revelation, he jumped into his strut and sped into town to see Poe. He found Poe sitting quietly in the shade of a tree he called the Tree of Life.
Tell me, Poe, why do you sit under this old tree?
When I was searching as you do, I would stare at the sun, for I could see it was truly golden. In staring at it in the search of gold, I lost my vision of the world from my eyes. All I could see then was my fear of being lost in my outward darkness. I began my life as a beggar, stumbling through my fears of darkness until one night I was sitting by this tree and I was bombarded by many moths. This I found to be quite peculiar, for I had no light. Then a vision from within appeared to me. It was an angelic creature who said, "I am the light within. While ever I shine, you shall overcome. Only your fears shall cloud my brilliance. At the end of every storm is a clear sky. Take shelter in the cave of the heart. In there my light shall always shine." This was where I sat when the moth showed me my light. The tree shades me from the sun, yet I am still aware of its presence. The tree and I could not exist without the sun. Still, without the tree to shade me, I would wither and die. This old tree enables me time to contemplate, to grow old with it and wise. Without the tree, I would soon be absorbed by the sun. I'd become one with it. The tree gives me time to find my own inner sun.
Poe, I found the answers to your riddles.
No, you found the answer to your own riddle.
Poe, will you now show me how to find gold?
No, not until you know the mystery of the moths. But if you look down at your feet, you shall find the gold I promised. When you solve the mystery of the moths, just as you found the chest, you shall know how to find gold.
I did not tell you of the chest. How did you know?
If there were 10 people in a field at night, all 10 feet apart from each other, how many lights would you see?
10, of course.
But if all the lights were held against one another, you would see only one light. All light is an aspect of one light, the sun. The sun is the true source of light. The sun draws its energy from the invisible, the unknowable. That which makes the sun shine is that which makes all lamps shine. Our lamps go out when we run out of fuel. Our lamps, they're reliant on an external source of fuel. But our inner lamp is one with the sun. It takes its fuel from within. Like the sun, it is inexhaustible. And it's only the outward things that are limited. They're limited by the limitations of the world. The old prospector took the gold to the store to pay his bill. Once the storekeeper saw the gold, he was struck with gold fever. He ran out shouting to the other shopkeepers,
Gold! There's gold in the desert! The old prospector has found gold!
People raced towards the prospector. Seeing this, he jumped into his truck and fled to the desert to hide. The townspeople quickly went to Poe. "You know where the gold is, Peter?" They bundled Poe into the truck and sped into the desert. After they had driven a while, Poe began to smell rain. You know, blind people have an expanded aspect of their senses. On smelling the rain, Poe knew that to smell rain in the desert predicted a tornado. So he told the people to stop. In their excitement, they thought Poe was trying to trick them and make them turn back. This they took as a sign that they were close to the gold. He drove a little further and stopped and began to search for the gold. Poe insisted that there was no gold there, so they dragged him out of the truck and left him in the middle of the area which they were searching. Soon the storm was upon them. The dust whipped up around their truck, and it was lost in a veil of dust, whirling and rising. The people began to panic. They asked Poe,
"What shall we do, Poe?"
Poe just sat. "What are you doing now, Poe?" "I'm meditating on my light." With this, they lost control of themselves. Fear took over. They ran in circles, swinging their shovels madly at the dust and the boom, only to strike each other in their crazed dance like moths before a light. With the desert sands whipped up by the storm, all light was veiled, leaving darkness. The old prospector found himself in a world with no light. At first he was overcome with fear. It was not long before the words of Poe rang in his ear. The light was in. This calmed him and reminded him of Poe's story about the cave in the heart. The next thing he knew, he was in a cave, which was lit by a brilliant candle, and blind Poe was with him. Poe showed him a map and said, "If you follow it, you will find real gold, the kind he never seen before." When he opened his eyes, the storm was over. He quickly got into his truck and drove to the place Poe showed him on the map. And there before his eyes was Poe, with the bodies of the townspeople all around him.
Poe, what happened?"
Poe just smiled, and all of a sudden he knew. He helped Poe to his feet. Looking down at where Poe sat, he saw a gold and silver tablet that read, "Search for wisdom, and ye shall always find gold." Poe smiled and said, "Old prospector, if speech is silver, what then of silence?"
"It is golden, my lord."